Wednesday, June 25th. Risto Ryti, president of the Finnish Republic, declares war on the Soviet Union, thus initiating the so-called Continuation War. Red Army forces are being overwhelmed on all fronts. In the north, in addition to the German attack with troops from Norway, the Finnish army also joins the fighting. In the south, on the coast of the Black Sea, Romanian and German troops are involved in fighting near River Dniester, on their way to Odessa, while their planes bomb the most important ports. In the center, 3 major German offensives spearhead the invasion. One advances through Lithuania in the direction of Minsk, where the 3rd and 10th Soviet armies withdraw as they try to hold up the German advance. In the southwest, forces fight to take the fortress at Brest Litovsk and to advance towards Pinsk. The third prong of the attack heads towards Kiev. In these initial days of the invasion, the Luftwaffe has destroyed 1,700 Russian aircraft. General Joachim Lemelson, commander of the 47th Panzer Group heading towards Smolosnik, files a complaint to his superiors about the needless killing of innocent people being carried out by the SS, whom he brands as murderers. Thursday, June 26th. The forces of the Third Reich have penetrated more than 300 kilometers into Soviet territory. Panzers surrounded by the Russians in the Polish city of Białystok, where the Nazis lock more than 700 Jews in the Great Synagogue and set fire to it. Army Group Center, under the command of Marshal Fedor von Bock, continues its unstoppable march towards Minsk. The overwhelming technological superiority of the Germans is smashing the Red Army. The Battle of Brody takes place near Dubno in northwest Ukraine. The Soviets attempt to counterattack using their armored divisions with T-34s, which will become the best medium tanks of the war, seeing action for the first time. More than 2,000 armored vehicles are involved, with victory eventually going to the panzers of General von Kleist. In Moscow, Lavrenti Beria, Commissar of Internal Affairs, NKVD, orders the formation of special units named Destruction Battalions, whose mission is to protect the factories, arms depot, and all facilities that might be targeted by saboteurs. Stalin fears that some Russian citizens might help the Germans. In Verona, Italy, Mussolini inspects the Torino Division, which forms part of the Corpo di Spedizione Italiano in Russia, CSIR, commanded by Giovanni Messi. It will be sent to the Russian front to help the Germans. Friday, June 27th. In Russia, the northern armies commanded by Marshal Wilhelm Ritter von Lieb advance rapidly towards the River Dwina to cross the Stalin line on their way to Leningrad. Marshal von Bock's Army Group Center, the most powerful of the 3, which includes the 2nd and 3rd Panzer Divisions of Generals Heinz Guderian and Hermann Hoth, is engaged in the Battle of Białystok-Minsk. General Dmitry Pavlov, the head of the Red Army, is under intense pressure, with contradictory orders coming from Georgy Zhukov, the Chief of Staff, urging him to evacuate his troops from Minsk and Babrusk. In the south, the armies under Marshal von Rundstedt spearheaded by the 1st Panzer Corps of General von Kleist, advance rapidly towards Kiev. However, although morale is high among the German forces, there are signs that the war is not going to be easy. The feared SS Totenkopf division can vouch for the fact that the Russians are determined not to surrender and are ready to fight to the last man. Furthermore, partisans are starting to operate behind the German lines. Nikita Khrushchev, who will later become the leader of the USSR, organizes several groups. In Spain, José Luis de Arrese, a leading politician and member of the fascist Falange movement, calls for volunteers to fight against the Soviet Union. Nearly 50,000 Spanish soldiers join the so-called Blue Division and, wearing the uniforms of the Wehrmacht, fight on the Russian front. Saturday, June 28th. In Russia, Army Group Center takes the city of Minsk, delivering a heavy blow to Stalin. The road is now clear for the Germans to advance on Smolensk and Moscow. In the Russian capital, the communist dictator meets with Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov, Georgy Malenkov, one of his closest advisors, and Lavrenti Beria, the cruel head of the secret police. After reviewing the situation of his armies, he exclaims, "Lenin left us a great legacy, but we, his successors, have screwed it up." The Russian ruler shows his inability to deal with the situation. Surrounded by inexperienced high-ranking officers, he is paying the price of his purges in the years of 1937 and 1938. In which he got rid of many of the country's most competent military men, among them Mikhail Tukhachevsky and Vladimir K. Triandafilov, two great strategists. In London, cryptographers decipher the code used by the Germans on the Eastern Front. The government of Albania becomes the 5th to declare war on the Soviet Union. Josip Broz Tito, secretary of the Yugoslav Communist Party, creates the general staff of the partisan army and prepares his guerrillas to fight the Axis troops that have invaded the country and the Croatian Ustaša. In the United States, after a 2-year investigation, the FBI arrests Frederick Duquesne and another 32 German agents. Sunday, June 29th. The fortress of Brest-Litovsk, Belarus, where the Soviet troops are putting up an epic resistance, is heavily bombed by Ju-88 planes. From Finland, Finnish forces attack the Red Army on the Karelian Isthmus with the aim of recovering the territory lost in the Winter War. Hitler wants Karl von Mannerheim to help take Leningrad, but the Finnish marshal refuses. German troops from the Mountain Corps, coming from Norway, fight Soviet forces at Murmansk and Petsamo. In Moscow, Stavka, the supreme command of the Soviet armed forces, orders troops that are forced to withdraw from towns and cities to destroy anything that might be of use to the enemy before leaving, as part of Stalin's scorched-earth policy. It also declares a state of war and introduces rationing. The city of Lvov, Ukraine, the capital of eastern Galicia, falls into the hands of German soldiers from Army Group South. Before retreating, the Russian troops murder hundreds of Ukrainian political prisoners. From his headquarters in Rostenburg in East Prussia, Hitler gives secret instructions that in the event of his death, Hermann Göring is to take his place. Monday, June 30th. The Germans take the fortress of Brest-Litovsk and more than 7,000 Russian prisoners. Army Group North, commanded by Marshal von Lieb, advances rapidly towards Leningrad. It reaches the river Dvina, breaks through the Stalin line, and continues its march through Lithuania. In Minsk, there still remain some pockets of resistance, which Army Group Center, commanded by von Bock, tries to eliminate. After taking more than 300,000 prisoners and 1,800 artillery pieces, the panzer groups of Guderian and Hoth head towards Smolensk. In the south, the Romanian and Hungarian divisions, commanded by von Rundstedt, advance towards Odessa, following the course of rivers Dniester and Uzi Bug, while the German troops make their way across the Ukrainian steppe on their way to Kiev. In North Africa, the Australian warship Waterhen is sunk off the coast of Sidi Barrani, Egypt, by German Stutka planes as it tries to bring supplies to Tobruk. In the Battle of the Atlantic, in the month of June, the U-boats have sunk 123 Allied ships.